San Diego 6 News in the morning. Your station for balanced news.
Many of you were out trick-or-treating or celebrating Halloween in one way or another last night. Now there's likely a big bag of candy sitting somewhere in your house, which can also be a big bag of calories. This morning, one of the super dentists will join us with tips on the best way to enjoy that candy and keep your teeth healthy at the same time.
Well, I'm sure you have plenty of candy and maybe too much candy lying around the house this morning. So what if you could donate that candy to a great cause? Dr. HOSS is with us this morning. He's otherwise known as the super dentist, and he's here to tell us about a great event happening this Tuesday. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. So did you go trick-or-treating last night?
Of course.
Of course, right? Big kids got to have fun too.
God, we had so many events. We had a big party at our office on Friday, and then Saturday we had our annual Halloween party, which we had more than 3,000 people come.
Wow.
And then, of course, at night we went out to another party with my wife, and this morning here, but I'm glad to be here.
Well, and this morning we're talking about what to do with all the candy that you got, because a lot of parents out there are going, my kids don't need all this. We're going to get to that event that you have coming up, but let's first talk about some tips for parents this morning. Okay. What do we limit it to? Because they do have a lot of candy sitting around the house, and it'll probably be there for the next few weeks. What would you say to parents? How do you limit that amount of candy, and how much should they be having each day? Okay.
Well, I think that what the parents should do is, first of all, separate the good candy from the bad stuff.
Okay.
So like everything else, there's good sugar and bad sugar. Bad sugar is, of course, sucrose is what's in normal candy and chocolate, and good sugar is something like xylitol. So if there's any candy or chocolate that they have that has xylitol, that's a good one to have. Some of the recent studies that show that actually xylitol can reduce cavities because the bacteria doesn't bond to.
What would be an example of that type of candy?
Like xylitol gum.
Okay.
There's some chocolate that actually, if you read it, it says it has xylitol instead of sucrose.
So look on the back, and it should have that ingredient.
Exactly. And another thing that's very important is that the frequency of when the kids have the sugar is a lot more important than the amount. Now we're talking about teeth. Not the whole general health.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
That's another topic, exactly. But if you're going to have it in one sitting, and maybe have it with a meal so you don't have a lot of it, and just have some of the good stuff, and of course right afterwards brush your teeth and rinse with some fluoride rinse.
Okay, as you mentioned, we're not talking about the calories here. We're talking about cavities.
That's right.
What's the main thing you see when kids come in after this holiday season, we could call it? Do you see a lot more cavities this time of year?
Unfortunately, we do see a lot of cavities. As an orthodontist, I see a lot more broken brackets and broken appliances. So my suggestion to all those patients who have braces is to avoid hard candies, not to break those brackets and appliances, because I always tell my patients a broken bracket can add 2 months to treatment, and that's an incentive not for them to break anything.
And it's money from mom and dad.
That's right, moolah from them. And then, of course, avoid sticky foods, sticky sugar that's going to stick to their teeth for cavities.
Okay, so now let's get to this fun event you have going on. It's this Tuesday, and people can bring in their candy to your office, dump it off, and for every pound, you're going to donate $1 to them and $1 to Rady Children's Hospital. So how does this all work?
It gets actually better. There's 2 ways that people can bring in candy and get cash for it. One way is to bring it directly to our office. We have 2 locations, one in Eastlake, one in downtown Chula Vista. Or we actually have placed bins around the school districts in our area, so they could actually take the candy to their schools, and the schools can bring the candy to us, so that's a good way for the schools to raise money for themselves.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, the candy that we collect, we pay $2 per pound, half of it to the kids or half of it to the school, and half of it to charity. This year it happens to be Children's Hospital. And then we send the candy to the troops overseas. And that's the best part, because the kids write nice letters to them, and then we get thank you letters from them. It's an incredible, incredible thing.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah,
now,
wonderful.
I was asking you earlier, you didn't get the answer me quite yet, but what's the biggest amount you've ever been able to donate, or how much candy do you have? What's the biggest amount
Well, we've been doing this for about 6 years. This is our 6th annual, and every year it gets bigger. Last year, I think we had about 1,200 pounds, and again, to give you another visual for that, is a huge, huge room filled from the floor to ceiling with boxes full of candy.
Wow. And all of that going to our troops who definitely
all except a few that we take for ourselves, of course.
Yeah. Well, a great cause, and thank you for doing this, because I think that there are a lot of parents out there saying, hey, this is a great lesson for my child, you know, because they're donating, and then learning that it's not all about candy, sometimes it's about giving back, right?
Creative solution to this candy craze.
Yeah. Okay, Dr. HOSS, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, for more information on this event, you can go to our website, san diego6.com, click on Hot Topics.